ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. There's nothing I love more than summer, new works, and I love Barrington Stage. When I did the world's worst production of Music Man in Sharon, Connecticut, we all took a road trip up to Barrington Stage to see some of the music. It was where they put on real pieces of work, not the work that I did. There's a show that is really beautiful. I've read about it. I can't wait to see it. And we have the cast and the writer, and we have a whole show for you. So, Mike, welcome to the show. Mike, hi.
Hi.
How
Thanks so
are
much
you?
for having me.
Congratulations on the journey of this show. And we're talking about Tiny Father. Can you tell us a little bit about when you started working on it?
Yes, Tiny Father started as a commission from Audible, and they had some interesting parameters because they were asking for a two-hander. They were asking for something that had like a kind of oral complexity, and I had never written an audio play before, and had recently gone through an experience where our child was in the NICU for 3 to 4 months and was in no mood to write a play at the time. But over time, I started to see a way to talk about that story and make it in an audio format. And then COVID happened, and so usually when you write a new play, you get a chance to see it in front of an audience in like a reading format, and you can make adjustments and see sort of how people are responding. But this one was developed mostly in COVID over Zoom, and so I had no idea how people would respond to it. And then just recently, we began rehearsals for this Barrington Stage company production, co-wrote with Chautauqua. And finally, I'm going back to what I was born to do, which is write plays in front of people and see sort of how people respond to it. So that was kind of the origins of it.
Yes, an audience, real people sitting out there. You can get your tickets at barringtonstageco.org. It's till July 22nd only. So you make sure that you get your tickets so you can see it. Can you tell us who we're about to introduce as your cast and who's a part of this production with you?
Yes, I am thrilled to be bringing Andy Lucien and Jenny Ikeda into the mix here. They are two of my favorite actors, and over the years, we have worked on a bunch of different projects developing plays, but this is the first time that I actually get the honor of them doing a world premiere production.
Well, welcome, Jenny and Andy. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to be here. Now, you both have, if you look at your bios and resumes and everything, you guys both have tons of stage experience, television, lots of television experience, etc. What, Jenny, we'll start with you. What drew you to this piece? What do you, for you is the heart of what this show is all about?
Well, the main thing that drew me to the piece was Mike, because I love Mike, known him for, oh my God, almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
And Mike is one of those writers who it's very rare that I read a script and laugh out loud when I'm alone in my room. And that always happens with Mike's plays. And I think that one of the great things about this piece is that it takes subject matter that's really serious, literally life and death, and turns it into a comedy. And it's something that I think the audiences so far, I think they've been like really unexpectedly moved and delighted by what we were presenting. And yeah, you don't expect to like see, babies who are, struggling for their health and like get a lot of laughs, but somehow Mike works his magic and that happens.
Andy, how was your journey to being a part of this production? And what was it like the first time you read the script?
Well, I've known Mike a couple of years, and over the time I've accrued a debt to him of several millions of dollars. So, me being here was me like chipping down at that debt. No, I'm kidding. I first met Mike. I can't be serious if he paid me. I first met Mike years ago at the Lark, and I believe, or just in the New York theater world, and worked with him first at the Lark, and was just always just drawn to his work. And his wonderful wife, who's also a playwright, Rahana, they're just two amazing playwrights, and I've done a couple workshops of theirs and kind of like coveted working in their work for years, and up until this point never got the chance. And when I first read this, I hadn't really read anything that really got into the medical system and how that affects parents in our one generation and two Black male single fathers. So it was, having had many of my friends and family members who are either fathers, first-time fathers, second, third-time fathers, or even single fathers. It was just an opportunity, and just an exciting opportunity, to tell their stories and honor them.
Absolutely. You can't say it. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Mike, when you see this up on its feet and you see an audience sitting there after you've gone through the Zoom readings and the rehearsal process, etc., how do you deal with such a personal story? It's very personal and very deep moving, and you relive this night after night as you see your work. And how did you find the humor? What's the trick to finding the humor through some of life's challenges?
In terms of how I process it, it's so funny because Wilson Chin's set is like almost like photorealistically a NICU, and so in some ways I want to run because I'm just like, oh no, I'm back in there, get me out. But
yeah.
But in terms of the humor, I think that's like kind of my starting point for all of my plays. That and even through this life experience, it was such a weird thing to find a lot of humor in such a serious clinical environment and actually not have anybody to share it with, because I would find something funny about what was happening with like the nurses or with our child's care, and if I would point it out, like would be met with a kind of that clinical mask of trying to keep it serious in a serious place. And so in a way, it's great to be able to share like what my brain was screaming that whole time, but that I couldn't really put out in the world without it without being looked at askew. So it's been really gratifying to take the truth of that experience and combine it with some fiction, and then just kind of actually share it with people.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and that's what makes art so special, is that you're healing other people and their stories, and they're relating to this very personal story. Thanks to your bravery for telling your truth. Jenny and Andy, Jenny, when you're up there, and you've been up there now, what is your routine? Is there a routine as a fellow actors watching this right now that get you into the space to do it, and then how you shake off the show at the end of after doing it? What's the process for you both on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I definitely, the main process is we have something called a diaper call, which we do every once in a while to make sure that, because there's a lot of sound cues. I got one of them wrong last night. Ugh, that always bugs me. But it's just making sure that I know exactly when to turn the monitors off, and changing the diaper, getting all that stuff. But luckily for me, this role is not, it's not the kind of part that I need to like go through some kind of process to get in the right headspace for. It's really about just being very mentally alert and clear, and making sure that my mouth is warmed up, because I talk really fast and it's a lot of medical jargon.
Yeah, sure. Andy, how about you? What kind of process do you bring to this to make sure it happens every night? Here's the
It's always weird seeing yourself looking at yourself from different angles. With everything that I tend to do with stage work, it's usually like a playlist that'll get me into it. So like, I'd say like a month before the show started, I started to think of songs that might live in this world. And then throughout rehearsals, you start to chip away. So it's like, this song is like, what was different about this playlist than others is most of the playlists I've made for other shows will start up tempo and then get kind of like more specific, maybe like more ballads, more like R&B, more stuff like that. Now we started this one with Adele. We had to start hot emotionally, because especially playing that parent, and with everything that happens in the show, not to give anything away, but there is that high emotional thing that we start off with, and then it kind of works into it, and then there's some upbeat songs, but it is more of a mellow playlist for this one. And then after that, part of the playlist for after the show is the come down. So it's just like, okay, all right, I'm gonna put Daniel. I'm gonna leave him in the theater tonight. and then I'm gonna go drink. No, I'm kidding. No, but, no, but you just have just a little bit, just whatever you do to take the edge off. I tend to find myself very hungry after the show, so yeah, because with everything going on, it is like cardio for like 95 minutes between Jenny doing all of the medical stuff and the Janet Jackson concert happening backstage. But yeah, usually just music and food.
Is there two things better than eating and listening to good music? I mean, that's what I'm all about. The one thing I remember about Barrington Stage is like, there's a good ice cream parlor. It's like 2 blocks away. You got to go eat, go have a day up there. It's a beautiful community. Mike, what has it been like to be chosen as part of the season, especially there at Barrington, where they have such a very famous, illustrious career of putting up work, especially during their summer season? What has it been like to be a part of it?
There's like a real reverence that I have for the writers that have come before me and the artists that have come before me, and you see it all over the walls. And so, in the rehearsal hall, there's pictures from prior productions in the theater itself, and it's funny because some of them are like writers and actors that I've admired from afar, and then some are friends too. Like increasingly it's becoming friends too. And so I think that there's something really beautiful about being part of that, like becoming part of that culture and being part of that legacy.
Absolutely. How about you, Jenny? What's it been like to be up there, and what has the community been like after they see the show, if they see you out and about in the town, or have you heard anything from the patrons of the center after the work?
It's great. I've never been to the Berkshires before, and what I've really noticed about the audiences is that there is a really dedicated group of people who are committed to culture and to like going to performances, whether it's concerts or Jacob's Pillow with dance. It's really wonderful, and I've also gotten the feeling that the audiences here, there's not like a jadedness that you can sometimes encounter, like in New York, with New York audiences who have like a very particular theater going lens often. So it's been really nice to have such an enthusiastic crowd. I mean, even when we've had smaller houses, they are still listening very carefully and really like, I feel like people are very present in a way that's been a really lovely surprise.
That's beautiful. Andy, what has your experience been with the people up there and working at this performing arts center and theater company?
I'm working in Barrington Stage. I've worked here before, so this is the second time that the last time I was here was, yes, it was 10 years ago doing Clybourne Park. And it was interesting, as Mike was saying, like in that time in my career of seeing a lot of faces back then of people who I admired, and coming back and seeing people who I've since worked with, who I've since been collaborators with, and like you said, are now calling friends. And it's just it's weird. It's a interesting full circle moment, and it's been really cool having the kind of some of the unexpected conversations in town, because like, for example, there's one gentleman who Jesus, if there's landscaping work in this area, he's doing it. My man Joe. And I would see him doing some of these jobs, and he's got his daughter with him, young Black man. And it was really cool because in forming Daniel, he was low key one of the inspirations. And then he came to see the show Wednesday. So like getting to chop it up with him and him talking about how much that meant to him to see that, as it really had a huge effect on me.
That's so beautiful. I think the show, families, parents, kids, it's a very universal theme, Mike, that you're touching upon, and everyone can see themselves, even if they haven't gone through the exact experience. Congratulations.
Yeah, I think that it, like especially becoming a parent myself, that it was you can project like what you're going to be like, but you just don't know until you're there. And so I like part of this play, even though it's such an extreme circumstance of like, this extended hospital stay, but is really about like that universal experience of becoming a parent and kind of the shift in consciousness that happens. And it's been really cool to watch Andy like in slow motion, like, becoming a father on stage. Which like you see, I mean, it's physically transformative. It's really cool. And so I think that even if you are like not steeped in that medical jargon or whatever, that's part of the experience of the show.
Well, you have piqued my interest, Andy. I remember being in acting school, and I was a Meisner trained acting student, and they said, if you're going to do an activity where you're going to give birth and you're excited about having a kid, you better live that truthfully. You better be ready. Don't come in here and be like, I'm a dad. You better give the full moment. So, Andy, I know you give full moments, 95 minutes every single night.
Yes. My professor Jim Wise would be very proud before he had 90 million criticisms. No, but yeah, like you just said, it's like live truthfully in imaginary circumstances. And I think what's been really cool is, it's funny because Mike pulled me aside and he said that once. And I was like, oh, for real? Because what was happening was there was really these connections because we have the baby in the show, and just like of the different periods in this baby's life, how you react differently to this baby. And that just kind of came out, and I was able to draw on some personal experience of me with my brother's children, when, the first year before like college, when my oldest nephew was born, and like being afraid that if I sneezed, I'd shatter him. So it was just like going from there and just kind of like extrapolating on that and how it felt when you got a little more confident and trying to bring that in, and then just making it individual to this circumstance. So it was really cool. And then being able to act like a complete idiot next to Jenny is just so much fun.
I listen, if you have plans, make plans, find time, go till July 22nd, barringtonstageco.org. To Mike, Jenny, and Andy, congratulations on this piece. I look forward to seeing it, and I look forward to seeing all of your work on stages and screens for years and years to come. Congrats on everything.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much.